Hello everyone, today I'll be reviewing Mutiny on the Bounty. So Mutiny on the Bounty came out in 1935 and was directed by Frank Lloyd, and this film starts off in Portsmouth in England in 1787, where there was this ship called the HMS Bounty, which is about to set out on a 2-year voyage around the world, and the captain of this ship is called Captain Bligh and is played by Charles Laughton, and the lieutenant on this ship is named Fletcher Christian and is played by Clark Gable. And throughout this film we follow this ship as it goes on its journey around the world, stopping off at several locations such as Tahiti, which is in the South Pacific. But really the main plot of this film is to do with Captain Bligh being a very ruthless character and being very strict towards all the people that are on this boat with him. And obviously because he's the captain, he's in charge, but he really punishes everybody else on the ship when they don't obey his orders and when they don't agree with him. And often there's times where he goes a bit too far, and there's even a couple of times when actually people end up dying because he takes it too far. Now he gets the first mates and the midshipmen to do lots of whipping and occasionally this thing called keel hauling, which is when someone is dragged underneath the ship, underneath the water, and then brought back up again if they're still alive. So Captain Bligh, played by Charles Laughton, is a very strict character, very ruthless. A conflict starts to take place between him and Fletcher Christian, played by Clark Gable, because Fletcher Christian as a character, he's obviously below Captain Bligh, but he's above most other people on the ship. And he's almost that go-between middleman character who wants to obey Captain Bligh, and he obviously respects him, but at the same time he doesn't want to, completely disrespect everybody else on the ship and doesn't want to punish them too harshly. So throughout this film we really see that conflict between Fletcher Christian and the ruthless Captain Bligh. Now, as you can probably tell by the title of the film, it won't surprise you to know that eventually there is a mutiny on the Bounty, and this mutiny is actually led by Fletcher Christian, who eventually gets so fed up of Captain Bligh that he basically takes over the ship with everybody else and kicks off Captain Bligh and some of the other people, and then the story basically develops from there. Now obviously I'm not going to tell you the whole story, I don't want to spoil it for you, but since this was the first time that I'd ever seen it, I really got to appreciate it properly and understand the story. And it's amazing to think this is actually a true story which actually took place, and it just sometimes makes that more interesting because Captain Bligh was actually a real historical figure. Now in terms of what I actually think of this film, I enjoyed it very much. I thought it was an excellent adventure film. It's one of those films that probably doesn't take itself too seriously, although the issues in the film obviously leading with this mutiny on the ship is quite serious, and there are a few sort of dark things. There are a few lighter moments spread throughout this film which do make it a bit more enjoyable. There's one character in particular who seems to be a bit of comic relief in this film, and every scene he's in it seems as though he's doing something silly or making a stupid mistake. Nevertheless, this is an excellent film, and I think really what makes this work is the acting. And in fact this film was nominated for 8 Oscars, but it only won 1 Oscar, which was the Oscar for Best Picture, which is actually really unusual because normally if a film wins the Oscar for Best Picture, it also wins lots of other Oscars. Anyway, what is quite impressive about this film is that it had 3 acting nominations. So Charles Laughton as Captain Bligh was nominated, Clark Gable as Fletcher Christian was nominated, and also Rotone as Byam, he was also nominated. So this has never happened since, when 3 actors in one film have been nominated for the Best Actor Oscar. And actually it was probably because of this film and because of that Oscar category that after this a separate Oscar category for Best Supporting Actor and Best Supporting Actress was created. So as you can probably tell, the acting is very good. I should mention Rotone as Byam. He's a more interesting character. He's one of the midshipmen, so he's not quite as high up, but he's someone that doesn't really want to lead the mutiny, but at the same time he's similar to Clark Gable's character. He thinks that the
punishments are being given out too harshly. And I also really like Clark Gable in this film. I've seen him in a couple of films like Gone with the Wind and It Happened One Night, and he always has a way of playing such a likeable, charismatic, charming character, and he's absolutely brilliant in this film. And it was really unusual to see Clark Gable without a moustache, and in fact he had to be convinced to shave off his moustache for this film to make it more realistic, because at the time on these ships crew members were not allowed to have facial hair, not allowed to have moustaches. But yeah, so Clark Gable gives a terrific performance in this film. In my opinion, the real star of this film is Charles Laughton as Captain Bligh. He's just so convincing as this ruthless captain. He plays such an interesting character because he's not a particularly likeable character. He doesn't seem to have many redeeming qualities, but at the same time he's a good leader as well. So he does always know what he's doing, and he's very convincing as this ship captain that has everything in order and everything in line, and people sort of expect him to get the job done and sort things out, even if he doesn't always go about it in the best way. So Charles Laughton as an actor gives a fantastic performance, and it's a shame that he didn't win the Oscar for Best Actor for this film. So I should mention this film has also had a few remakes. There was a remake which came out in 1962 which stars Marlon Brando, which I haven't seen and I may check out at some point, but apparently that film isn't as good as this one. And this film has actually gone down as a bit of a classic, and it's amazing to think it's 85 years old. It's still such a watchable film, and I do really like the fact that a lot of this is shot on location in Tahiti, because a lot of films back then, they actually weren't shot on location, they were just shot in the studio, and it really does just look fantastic. It makes the film look very realistic. And I should also mention this film does have a good film score as well. As I was saying, a lot of films back in these days, they didn't have much musical scores, but this one's actually quite catchy. We actually get it playing at the start, and we also get the song Rule Britannia playing quite a few times in this film, which I always enjoy. So overall, I have to say Mutiny on the Bounty, a really excellent adventure film. I can't think of anything particularly bad to say it, because I really enjoyed it quite a lot. Perhaps it does drag a little bit in places. I think given the title of the film, people always expect the mutiny to happen. Perhaps it does take a bit longer than some people might expect. But nevertheless, I highly recommend this film. I just found it so enjoyable, and the characters are all brilliant. The acting is fantastic. Just the setting is beautiful. It's an excellent looking film, shot in black and white. So I'm going to give Mutiny on the Bounty a rating of 10 out of 10. It is a must-see film, even though it is very old. Definitely check this one out because you will not be disappointed. So there we go. So that is my review of Mutiny on the Bounty. So what do you guys think? Have you seen Mutiny on the Bounty? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Please let me know down in the comment section what your thoughts are. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.